Our protagonist used to be a knight protecting humanity, but got sent to the afterlife by the demon tribe. However, the director isn't ready to end the story yet, so he was reincarnated in a new world as an S-rank behemoth. Even kindergarten kids know from neighborhood gossip that an S-rank behemoth is a catastrophe-level monster with power like a natural calamity, capable of wiping out entire nations. This left him utterly confused. He couldn't believe someone who was once a knight protecting humanity had now become a monster dangerous to humans, but he had to accept fate. He looked at his reflection in a puddle and was shocked to find that he wasn't some giant beast, but a legendary orange cat with rabbit ears. Cut to the city where Aria Big Size lives. Just like every day, Aria wakes up, gets ready, changes clothes, equips her weapons, and heads to the Adventurers Guild to pick up a quest. Meanwhile, our guy is facing off against a hungry slime. It's just an E-rank monster at the bottom of the food chain, so he doesn't bother, but then remembers he hasn't eaten since reincarnating. So he decides to just devour it with a single Earth Roar skill. Unexpectedly, the monster wobbles, and he gains a bunch of new skills. The excess slime can be stored in his space pocket to snack on later when he's hungry. Meanwhile, Aria begins her expedition. She boards a boat, shows her pass to the guard, and enters the dungeon. On the other side, our guy is dealing with monsters rushing to their doom. Though small in size, he possesses S-rank power, so these tiny pests are no match for him. He swiftly takes them down with a single move and gains many badass new skills. Meanwhile, Aria hasn't noticed the disturbances inside the dungeon. She uses a special stone to open doors leading deeper. Aria dreams of becoming a great adventurer like that female knight to help humanity eliminate dangerous monsters. While wandering the dungeon, the protagonist accidentally finds a treasure chest glowing like divine light. Curious, he opens it and discovers a huge, dazzling diamond. Thinking he'd scored a jackpot for life, ready to relax and enjoy, but it turns out to be a trap set by an S-rank Earth Dragon. The dragon is furious at being disturbed from sleep. Though he fights back with his Earth Roar skill, it has no effect. The dragon lunges at him, so he quickly activates his Iron Armor skill to protect himself. But the dragon's claws are too powerful, and Tama gets injured. When the dragon tries to finish him off, he narrowly dodges and wounds it before escaping with his flying skill. However, due to severe injuries, Tama faints while fleeing. Luckily, Aria finds him and brings him home to treat his wounds. When Tama wakes up, he finds himself in an unfamiliar room. His wounds have been carefully bandaged by Aria. Her kindness makes Tama think this is heaven. The angel also realizes Aria only sees him as a normal cat, unaware he's actually a behemoth. Aria cares for him until he fully recovers. Grateful, he swears to protect her to his last breath. Actions speak louder than words. As Aria continues her quest to hunt monsters in the dungeon, Tama secretly follows her. Not being weighed down by the sword lets him move even faster. After finishing up, Aria cuts off a goblin's ear as proof of completing the mission. Suddenly, another goblin appears. Although she already killed enough when the chance is right, why not take it? Aria rushes into battle unaware this is a mutated goblin variant, a stronger evolved version of the usual goblin. The goblin immediately casts a giant fireball. She barely dodges the attack, but he rushes out to save her, to keep his identity secret. Even though she had already killed the planned number, why pass up an easy meal when it's right there? Aria rushed into battle without realizing this was a mutated goblin hybrid, a stronger evolved version of a regular goblin. It immediately launched a massive fireball. The sticky glue spray almost hit her, but he jumped out in time to save her, to keep his identity hidden. He didn't use magic, just his claws to shred the goblin's face like an ordinary cat. Aria was still in shock from what happened. She thanked him for saving her and then placed him between her breast. When they returned to the group, the old goat Casman acted like she hesitated and refused to avoid offending him, but she was pushed by the moment to make a move. Aria and Tama bit his hand before he could place those dirty hands anywhere. On Aria's ass, Tama wildly flailed in the air until Casman let go, then landed on Casman's sleazy face and added a few decorative scratches. Casman angrily drew his sword, ready to shred Tama, but was stopped by the guild receptionist. He seemed really scared of Sister Anna, so he mumbled that he was busy and slipped away from the guild. Anna praised Tama for bravely protecting his master. Aria proudly boasted that the kitty had saved her twice. She boldly declared she officially adopted Tama as her pet and named him Tama. Tama's eyes sparkled with joy because from now on, He could confidently sleep on her soft twin peaks without anyone whispering behind his back. After Sister Anna confirmed the mission was complete, Aria rewarded herself with a drink. A pretty girl had dared before, but now, with Tama added, she got even bolder. Tama was forced to lie on Aria's lap and got poked at his little balls until he wanted to die. The next morning, Aria and Tama headed to the guild. Passing through the marketplace, Aria was enthusiastically invited by everyone, but sadly she spent all her money buying numbing medicine for the kings. Mom's cooking. As soon as they stepped into the guild, Anna's shadow urged Aria to hurry home, but it was too late. The pervert Casman appeared with a letter from the Baron. The Baron ordered Tama's execution because he was considered a dangerous monster. Aria felt like she'd been struck by lightning. She knelt and begged Casman to spare her, but since the Baron's order couldn't be revoked, Casman proposed a duel with Aria. If Aria won, Tama would be spared. If she lost, she would have to become Casman's wife, though Casman was a level above her. Aria didn't hesitate and agreed immediately. Everyone around felt someone was being pushed around unfairly. But Casman had a prime location and powerful family, so no one dared to intervene. Sister Anna would referee the match. Due to rank rules, Casman allowed Tama to assist Aria. Though Tama tried to attack, he couldn't damage Casman. Aria was overwhelmed by Casman's strength and backed into a corner. Tama had no choice but to risk everything, using iron armor skill to break Casman's sword, then used S-Ling skill to make Casman injure himself. Everyone was shocked to see a cat wield magic. Aria began doubting Tama's true identity, but instead of thinking he was a secret mod, people assumed he was just an elemental cat from their place, scared by a fan's prank. So Tama continued his life beside Aria as the cute cheese stick king, not a disaster-level monster. A new day began. What's happier than waking up lying on a pretty girl's soft twin peaks? Seeing Aria awake, Tama immediately cuddled his master, feeling more comfortable. Tama tried licking her ear, but it turned out to be a bad move. Tama didn't understand why her cheeks flushed red. Her breathing got erratic, and she moaned strangely. Seems like he accidentally triggered the female lust mode of ABCXYZ species. Aria got super angry and stormed to her best friend's forge. Vulcan. Seems like the pretty girl and Toon often hung out. Vulcan is a blacksmith from the Tiger tribe, and also a C-rank adventurer. She quickly recognized the famous cat Tama around town lately. Aria immediately introduced Vulcan Tama as an elemental cat she just adopted. Vulcan was thrilled and asked to hug Tama, so Tama got passed from one lap to another, enjoying the softness. Definitely the luckiest guy of the year. Aria felt meeting Tama was like a dream. But actually, Tama should be the one saying that going from a royal knight to just this. Aria's purpose today was to order a special armor set for Tama. With this gear, she could take Tama to wreck dungeons with her. Hearing this, Vulcan got excited, immediately measuring Tama's height width and even mouth size. That night, Vulcan stayed up all night. She poured all her effort into the armor because the kitten is still growing, so she'll have to use magic to adjust its size and fit. The next morning, the trio's demon gear was completed. The armor looked like a leather suit reinforced with metal, allowing full mobility. On its head was a hat with ear holes, making it look really cute. However, the problem was Aria's longsword still couldn't be lightened any further. Despite reforging it repeatedly, she still struggled to wield it, so Vulcan suggested Aria team up with him temporarily to evaluate her fighting style during their expedition. From there, they determined a weapon better suited for her. The two, plus the cat, ventured into the dungeon and got to work. It turned out Vulcan's weapon was a warhammer. As a Tiger Tribe member, she was seriously strong, able to easily take down goblins without support from Aria and Tama. Even when a mutated goblin attacked with a giant fireball, Vulcan not only avoided burns but absorbed the enemy's energy and effortlessly incinerated it. The enchanting flame skill she used evolved from blacksmithing, allowing Vulcan to imbue her armor with various elemental powers. As an experienced knight, Tama truly admired Vulcan's strength. Soon after, another orc came to meet its fate. This one was a hulking brute with a pig-like snout. Looking grotesque and repulsive to Aria, she drew her two longswords and dashed straight at the orc with a speed boost, but the orc anticipated her move, blocking her strike and counterattacking. Tama immediately activated her iron armor skill to shield Aria. The rock-hard armor broke the orc's weapon in two. Aria seized the chance to quickly finish off the monster. Though victorious, Aria seemed dissatisfied. Vulcan realized the long sword was limiting Aria's agility, making her attacks predictable, so Vulcan suggested Aria train against a monster better suited to her on the next floor. That monster was Jobber, a bluish-green, one-eyed creature covered in tentacles. Tama immediately imagined the horrifying scene of herself captured and played with in BDSM by that monster. Vulcan advised Aria that to beat Jobber, she'd have to change her movement and come up with various tactics. Since those many-armed monsters could grab her any time, Aria rushed in to attack but still lost a sword to Jobber. With only one weapon left, Aria's movements became lighter. However, that wasn't enough to win. When Jobber caught her last sword, she switched to dual daggers. As a result, Aria pierced through the slime's body. Its tentacles moved slower, letting Aria easily sever them all. From the severed tentacles, a white liquid sprayed all over Aria. Covered in the sticky goo, she looked like a JAV actress filming a scene. Furious, Aria unleashed a flurry of slashes, cutting the monster's body in half. Vulcan immediately ran over to congratulate her. Tama followed, not forgetting that although the taste was disgusting, it granted her 3 new skills: tentacle summoning, infinite tentacle accumulation, and cross-species mating. Meanwhile, Aria kept stabbing the Jobber's tentacles relentlessly. Out of spite from earlier, Aria admitted she chose the longsword before because of her admiration for the Holy Sword Lord, but after this fight, she truly realized she shouldn't reach for what wasn't hers. From now on, Aria decided to start training with daggers. Vulcan confirmed Aria was strong enough to explore deeper floors, but first they needed to clean off the slime. Vulcan reminded Aria admiration for the Sword Saint, but after this fight, she truly realized she shouldn't reach for what doesn't belong to her. From now on, Aria decided to start training with daggers. Vulcan confirmed Aria is strong enough to explore deeper levels, but first they need to clean off the slime from the tentacles. Vulcan reminded Aria that elemental cats can mate with AI creatures. If the cat enters heat, it might do something bad to Aria, like rolling around in bed. But instead of worrying about possibly getting burned, Aria was super excited, even encouraging it to grow fast so they could ABCXYZ together and keep exploring the dungeon. The next monster the 3 faced was a minotaur, very different from any beast they'd met before. Both Aria and Vulcan attacked at the same time, but it didn't even flinch. This minotaur is strong, but dumb. Aria came up with a plan, running circles around the monster to make it dizzy. Then it smashed its own face, wildly breaking the 4 surrounding walls, causing rocks to rain down like a storm. Luckily, Tama arrived just in time to save her, or she'd be history. Mom's cooking then, the hero saving the beauty earlier, and now finishing today's mission. The 2 humans and 1 cat headed back to the guild to report and treat themselves to a barley smoothie. After today's dungeon run, Vulcan realized that Aria and Tama's fighting styles fit him perfectly, so he invited them to officially form a team. Thus, the strange team of 2 humans and 1 cat was born. That night, Tama couldn't sleep because she was squeezed between 2 massive hills. He opened the system and discovered he could evolve into Behemoth's 2nd form. This is the disaster-level monster form everyone fears. Evolution means a serious power boost. But evolving now would put not only Tama, but also Aria and Vulcan in danger, so the little one, Meow Meow, decided not to evolve and continue adventuring with her owner. The next day had no missions, so Aria let Tama sleep in until noon. On the street, they saw 2 thugs bullying a child. When they saw the elemental cat, they got scared and ran off, dropping their stuff. The girl's name is Lala, and it seems she has no parents left. Aria decided to take Lala to the church, and also visited the children they had helped before. Seeing Aria do such a noble deed, Tama admired her even more, and silently vowed to protect her at all costs. Then they both returned to the guild. Aria was shocked when Anna suddenly announced that she had ranked up to C level, so all of Aria's recent efforts and hard work had finally paid off. Adventurers were buzzing with rumors in front of the mission board, saying the nearby city of Dino had many disappearances caused by the demon tribe. They targeted both kids and adults. Who can return Aria asked Anna to explain more about the disappearances in Dino City. Because this is urgent, it will be handled together by a team of knights. One of them is none other than the youth Siege. He is the eldest son of the Duke's family, who are the guardians of this maze city. Siege greeted Vulcan and Aria, revealing he already knew Vulcan. Tama recalled there was a huge war before between humanity and the demon god, also known as Janadak. In that fierce battle, a young man praised as the great sorcerer defeated the entire demon army, with just one magic attack securing victory for humanity. This youth was also a famous hero from that war. Aria suddenly wondered, with such limited personnel now, how could they defeat the demon tribe and those monsters with unknown natures? Sister Anna advised her not to worry. Why stress? Your guy Zeech is here to have your back. Then Aria and Tama went back home to prepare for the mission. Aria felt a bit tense because this mission seemed more dangerous than previous ones. Tama acted cute to boost her spirits, earning a kiss from the pretty girl in return. They set off by horse carriage, with other knights inside Danny Kenny and 2 martial artists named Kenny and Masita. They all already knew Vulcan. Aria introduced herself and little Tama, who had been through rough times on the new hills, making the others wide-eyed. Suddenly, their carriage was blocked by a group of pig-brained monsters. Then Zeech sent Danny out to deal with them. He didn't even bother using magic skills, just calmly drew his sword and performed some basic moves, and the pig-brained monsters fell instantly. The power of the Janadoc hero really can't be underestimated. Tama hoped one day to fight alongside them. Finally, the group arrived in Dino City and was welcomed by the mayor. The mayor said many citizens had mysteriously disappeared. Even the entire Vanguard team sent to search the Demon Clan ruins never returned. Recently, a young girl went missing as well. After reporting to the Whirlwind Squad, the mayor invited them to a banquet. During the meal, Aria asked everyone why they chose to become knights. Unexpectedly, Danny, Kenny, and Majida all said it was because they had to support their families financially. Thanks to the Knight Order's favor, they made it this far. As for Jarek, he's part of the LGBT community. Didn't want to inherit his family's legacy, so he ran away from his parents to become a knight. Plus, he gets a thrill from fighting. After eating, Aria dragged Tama into the communal bath. At first, he was shy, hesitant, but once his mistress started washing and massaging him, he was so into it, he forgot everything. Seeing Tama's satisfied look, Danny was impressed because he was very different from the usual weaklings. The girls were teasing each other, and Lan went straight to the straight guy's hot spring area, Danny's crew, and shouted for them to stand at attention. 2 gay guys sneaked over to peek at some pretty girls, but accidentally ran into Tama, who was standing guard there. Being guys, they just got each other instantly. Then Tama used his roar skill to send those perverts back where they came from. If they weren't teammates, I'd have called the cops on those guys long ago. The next morning, Jericho's group began their campaign to attack the Demon Clan base, unaware someone was spying and plotting against them. The first monsters appeared in the maze. Shouting, he immediately provoked the werewolves. Kenny and Majida took advantage by targeting their 2 weak spots with attacks. At Whirlwind Squad, a few sword strikes sliced a wolf in half. Aria and Vulcan didn't want to be deadweight, but these monsters were seriously tough. In this situation, Tama's Earth Roar skill could only buy time, so he decided to unleash a new skill. Tama's roar blasted a powerful water jet, piercing through all 10 werewolves. Everyone was stunned, amazed, and shocked. Even the demon watching them through the crystal ball felt Tama's power was strange. Although elemental cats can cast magic, this level of power was unreal. Bezieta Zort, the demon behind it all, refused to give up and decided to join the fight directly. This guy is Bezieta Zort, a surviving Demon Clan member once wiped out by humans. No need to ask, his goal is revenge on humanity. The attack on Dino City was just the start of his big plan. Ataro immediately summoned a giant A-rank super beast from the buried Vietnamese beasts to confront them. Sheech ordered everyone to scatter and attack. Unexpectedly, Atarod anticipated their move and created a barrier, splitting the team into 3 groups so they couldn't support each other. Tama was locked alone in a separate cage. The buried beasts attacked Tama fiercely. He managed to sever one of a beast's arms, but didn't expect it to regenerate. Only Jesus' power could take them down. Laughing like he was high, he charged and slashed the monster's stomach, successfully draining their vitality. Ataro was shocked that his sword could absorb dark magic energy, just like the great demon sorcerer's weapon used in the last major battle. On Tama's side, he tried all his skills, but none worked on the buried beasts. If Tama activated Behemoth's second form now, they'd be minced meat for soup instantly. However, revealing himself as a disaster-level monster would end his and Aria's journey immediately once cornered, so Tama came up with a plan to keep burning the monsters, burning them until their wounds no longer healed. The strategy worked, and the buried beasts all fell. Meanwhile, Aria and Vulcan combined their swords to attack Adarot. Damn it. If Tama activates Behemoth's second form now, these guys will be ground pork for porridge. But if he reveals himself as a disaster-class monster, his and Aria's journey ends right there. When they're backed into a corner, Tama came up with a plan: keep burning the monsters until their wounds become irreversible. That strategy worked, and the monsters all fell. Meanwhile, Aria and Vulcan teamed up to attack Adarot. If it came to stamina, the two girls were weak and no match for him, so they used smoke to block Adarot's vision. Aria took the chance to stab her poison-coated sword straight into his chest, but she got hit too. The group quickly rushed Aria back to the city for treatment. The doctor said she only had half a day left because no AI could neutralize dragon poison unless they obtained the eye of the Earth Dragon, but J. Rick said there wasn't enough time since they didn't even know where it was. Obtain the pupil of the Earth Dragon, but J. Rick said there isn't enough time since they don't even know where it is. Not to mention having to defeat an S-rank dragon. The doctors can only provide painkillers for now, to help the patient to make Aria more comfortable in her final moments. Without a word, Tama immediately set off alone to defeat the Earth Dragon he had encountered earlier. There, Tama flew to the dungeon and decided to shift into the Behemoth's second evolution form. Although transforming meant he might have to say goodbye to Aria, Tama was ready to sacrifice himself to save her. Tama turned into a massive behemoth monster with rough blue fur, looking incredibly powerful. However, their fight was cut short because the episode ended, guys. Episode 4 will return to the battle between Behemoth and the unlucky Earth Dragon. Tama breathed fire trying to incinerate it, but got rammed in the neck and passed out on the spot. The Earth Dragon was even surprised because despite the transformation, Tama was still weak. But actually he was just faking being knocked out to catch it off guard and immediately counterattack with firepower, successfully putting the poor Earth Dragon to eternal sleep. Right after defeating it, Tama returned to his cute cat form. It turns out his evolution form has a time limit. Tama quickly packed the dragon's body into space and rushed back to the city. Aria's condition was getting critical. The dragon's toxin had spread all over her arm. Tama returned with the necessary supplies. The knights witnessing this didn't understand what happened, but knew saving her was the priority. So, they began preparing the antidote. While drifting in and out of consciousness, Aria dreamed of events from her childhood. When Aria was 13, her hometown was attacked by a crazed demon clan. Bodies piled up, but they didn't stop and were determined to find the Philosopher's Stone that the Io clan was hiding. Aria became a victim so scared she wet herself. Thinking her life was over, suddenly an elemental cat appeared and saved her. That's why Aria loves Tama so much. He's saved her life countless times. Because of this adorable creature, she's convinced she'll marry a cat and have kittens in this life. The next morning, the poison in Aria's body began to subside and was no longer life-threatening. Then the group returned to the guild to report to Anna that the mission to eliminate the demon clan was complete. Days later, Aria took leave to rest and fully recover. While she rested, Tama continuously trained in the dungeon to ensure Aria won't face such deadly danger again. But somehow, after defeating the Earth Dragon, the Behemoth's second evolution mode got disabled. At least he learned some new skills from it. The first target to die was the Minotaur, quickly swallowed by the enemy Minotaur. Tama was about to test his new move when a strange girl appeared crazily chasing him, demanding ABCXYs. The little cat got scared out of his mind. The swallow fled fast back home, and at night lay between Aria's soft mountain crevices, but couldn't sleep, still thinking about the morning's events. He felt like he'd met that familiar little girl before. About a week later, Aria fully recovered and took Tama out for a picnic. Aria brought up the dead Earth Dragon's body lying right outside the infirmary. She was sure Tama had defeated it to save her, but it seemed the little cat wasn't ready to talk about it yet, so she didn't ask further. The next day, Aria and Tama went to Vulcan's shop to get new gear. While Aria rested, she crafted all kinds of weapons suitable for them, all made from top-tier materials. Because lately they've been doing quite well. Aria tried on the new outfit and felt there was nothing to complain about. Wearing something cool like this would make her faster and more agile. Of course, durability and defense were still guaranteed. To test it out, they immediately headed to the labyrinth. Since they hadn't fought in a while, Aria was a bit tense. Seeing this, Tama immediately used a spell to calm Aria's mind. Its effect is like a blessing, resisting both fire and ice while also slightly boosting the whole team's stats. It helps the two petite girls gain confidence right when facing the first monster without using skills. Yet she reached the point of becoming a monster no one could catch up to. According to Aria, both her armor and weapons are excellent. At that moment, the strange girl Tama saw earlier appeared. Sensing Tama's scent, she got excited because Tama was running. The strange girl Tama saw earlier appeared. Sensing his scent, she got excited because Tama was running. Even though we still have to come here to hunt monsters, Aria and Vulcan thought that girl was also an adventurer, but looking closely, her tattered clothes, that fragile outfit didn't match. When Aria asked her name, she said she was born from darkness with no name or age. Hearing that, Aria immediately said this girl has amnesia and should be sent to a mental hospital. But this girl kept insisting on ABCXYZ, with Tama making Aria furious while our guy was already stiff as a board. Wondering where this girl came from, looking like a female cat in heat with blonde hair ready to pounce, but Aria stopped her because she's not even mature yet, so no mating allowed. Otherwise, she would have done it a long time ago. Then the third wheel saw Tama's owner serious like that, and the blonde girl got a bit scared. But she vowed to follow them because then she could be with her love every day on the way back to the guild. Aria felt it was inconvenient that the girl had no name, so she named her Stella. In her hometown, it means beauty. The name sounds really nice too. The little kitty silently admired her owner's talents picking such a delicate name. Somehow, the blonde girl heard Tama's thoughts and accepted the name Stella. First, they took Stella to the bathhouse to wash off the dirt. It was her first time ever touching soap, so she was extremely excited, not only washing away the grime, but it also smelled good. Seeing Aria massage and scrub, Tama Stella got jealous. She wanted to try too, but Aria refused because it's a privilege only the caretaker has, no one else. That night, Stella woke Tama up to talk. The surprise was they communicated through the monster's telepathy. Tama froze for 5 seconds, shocked, not understanding what kind of person she was, and even crazier that she understood his meow language. Stella then brought up their fight in the maze the other day. After punching each other, Tama was still stuck trying to find his way out. Stella confessed she was the earth dragon whose eye Tama gouged out, but was reborn in a human body. Her life story was as crazy as the maze. Born strong, she considered herself a powerhouse living in the dark depths of the maze. Even without AI guidance, she easily dominated and controlled other monsters. Time passed. No AI was strong enough to challenge Stella anymore until she met Tama and was defeated. Though humiliated subconsciously, Stella wanted to be reborn, again to face her conqueror and ask for a child. This is the species' instinct, to obey the one who defeated them. After awakening again in Maze 8, Stella knew her goal was to find Tama. She also learned the reason she could reincarnate was due to a hidden skill that only activates upon death, triggered by the scent from the armor piece Tama left behind. Stella then stumbled out and finally got to be with her love like this. Tama was a bit worried about revenge, but Stella firmly said she was already defeated, so no need to worry about getting hit. But on one condition, she has to have a child with her. Stella was fired up to do it that very night, but was stopped by Aria. She was so scared she nearly wet herself, didn't dare argue, and had to hide in a corner waiting for another chance. She'd never eaten anything this delicious: fish, meat, veggies, pickles, all with tasty sauces, especially fruit juice. Her first time drinking something this good. Fish, meat, veggies, pickles, all with sauces, especially fruit juice. First time she tasted anything this delicious. Before, as a dragon, she only gnawed on live enemy flesh to survive no fancy delicacies like this. Aria was also very kind, giving her a share. Stella talked with the cat about Aria. What's up with this girl? No matter how you look at her, something's off. There's a terrifying creature following her around. Yet she gives off such a gentle vibe. Tama sees everything through rose-colored glasses when he looks at her. She's a goddess with an incredibly soft aura. She's both a benefactor and a precious master, someone he swore to protect for life. Someone who could make him say that Tama thought it over and told her not to reveal the secret. The secret is his super S-rank monster. If Aria finds out, he won't be able to stay by her side anymore. Stella took advantage of that slip. She immediately jumped on the chance and said that to keep the secret, she must pair up with her. So that's what she really wanted to say. But pride won't let her threaten others. Without any shame, she'd have eaten this orange cat already. She'll rely on herself to make me fall for her. From here, the two started growing closer. Aria took Stella for a walk around town. Hoping she could remember something, Stella only recalled that she was always fighting. Aria simply thought she must be a fellow adventurer who would ever guess the one beside her is a dragon. When she got startled in the cave, Aria didn't think it was because Stella remembered something. Actually, it was because she saw Aria commanding an S-rank monster like Tama, which shocked her. The monster world is just the big fish eating the small fish. So Stella assumed Aria had to be way stronger than Tama the S-rank monster to control him. If the S-rank monster can't win, then she definitely doesn't stand a chance. Aria didn't quite get what she said, assuming Stella just had no memories and was talking nonsense. She thought of a way to help Stella remember. Maybe training as an adventurer would help. Aria dragged her to a blacksmith shop to buy adventurer gear. She knew the gear was top-notch, but did it have to be so revealing? Stella didn't expect the equipment to be so lightweight. But that piece of fabric over her chest was so annoying. She wanted to pull it off and toss it away to feel lighter. Everyone was speechless at her crazy idea. At this rate, she'd just be showing off not being an adventurer. Aria advised her to wear arm guards too. The maze is dangerous. Going in bare-handed means you're dead for sure. Stella snorted piece of cake. She just flexed and her arms instantly turned to dragon-like scales with a tail growing behind her. This form proves she's unleashed her power. People started suspecting Stella might be from the Dragon New race. They're super rare folks who can transform parts of their body into dragon features. After such a glorious past life, it's not surprising she turned out like this. As for Tama, his appearance made everyone super curious, poking him all over. The blacksmith owner was brewing plans to turn him into a heavy weapon, just a professional habit. It gave everyone goosebumps. After picking the outfit, it was time to choose weapons. Stella looked around for something fitting. After careful searching, she found a giant black shield that looked perfect for her. When Stella lifted that ton-heavy shield, it felt as light as a feather, shocking everyone. A black steel shield she could lift with one hand. Strength sure, but not too much. Tama didn't expect Stella to choose a shield. He thought a fierce fighter like her would wield a massive sword or greatsword. Stella was pretty surprised when Tama took the initiative to call her on the phone. She really wasn't interested in shields before, but after losing to him, she realized how important defense is. Now she's just a little girl afraid of enemy attacks. Thanks to him killing her, she finally understood what true power is, and even what love means. Not only did she pick a shield, Stella also grabbed the biggest sword she could find. After gearing up, they immediately set off into the maze. She didn't even use the shield or sword, but was insanely strong. A small demon tried sneaking up for a stab, but Tama crushed it with one hit into a pile of mush. Truly a ground dragon breed, Tama understood Stella's bloodthirstiness came from once being a monster. Hopefully she won't lean toward evil in the future. Aria guessed Stella's memory loss made her fight purely on instinct. Hopefully she doesn't turn evil later. Aria figured Stella must have amnesia to fight so instinctively like that. They need to support her truly an angel of the year. The little snot is itching to fight the strongest guy here. So weak right away, she didn't even get to use her shield. The three were eager to see how far they could get today. On the next floor, they ran into D-rank monsters, some hornets. They smashed those things with shields like pounding rice. Their combat ability is seriously scary. The demon trio barely got to act before the show was over. Reaching the third floor, she charged forward as usual. This time, she encountered a roper. For some reason, seeing this one gave her chills all over. Her inner demon warned her this was a dangerous monster. It's pretty tough for someone newly reincarnated like her. Plus, this type has a deadly habit targeting females. They trap females in heavy illusions. Stella rushed in to fight the monster. The creature grabbed her sword with its tentacles, and they struggled for a while. Suddenly, the monster sprayed a milky white substance all over Stella. She grabbed the monster to fight back. Tama recognized this move as a desperate act. Pushed into a tight spot, he instinctively reacted like he did back when he was a dragon. First, you have to make sure Vulcan and the Master are safe. The nature of this beast. It has tentacles, endless slime, and cross-species mating. Tama summoned his tentacles to grab Vulcan and kept the Master from getting close. Then he sprayed water straight at the monster, creating a hole in its body. After killing the monster, Tama calmed Stella down. Stella was dazed, not even realizing when the monster had died. Her condition today puzzled Tama, losing herself like that, fighting a low-rank monster. Not dragon-like at all. Maybe Stella was still affected by the battle with Tama. He hoped she could forget it. Feeling a bit guilty, he promised to protect Stella from now on, hoping she could fight like a normal human. Stella was deeply moved hearing those words from the one she loved. Stella became more determined than ever. She grabbed her weapon again, ready to fight like a human. Vulcan was happy to see Stella regain her spirit. With someone like her on the team, they could become the strongest squad. In her past life, Stella saw what a team's power looked like. Alone, each was weak. But combined, they were deadly and honestly pretty fun. That's why she felt excited. Tama was enjoying a normal cat life when suddenly Aria appeared from behind. Her face was bright red body, writhing like a snake, practically dripping. Aria had no idea Tama had tentacle skills. Now she was insisting he use those tentacles to totally wreck her. Cat Tama was sweating bullets. Since when did he become a hyper-horny deviant? Luckily, Vulcan stepped in, or Tama would have been done for. Tama really lost his manhood. Vulcan gave Aria a spanking in the maze. What a mess. Before long, Stella mastered Sword and Shield. The group held a meeting to plan their next battle, and Stella was specially assigned the crucial frontline role. As the frontline defender and key pillar, this made their formation much stronger and a lot tougher. Even Tama was impressed. His plan really worked. With that setup, Vulcan and Aria could focus on attacking, and Tama could adapt better. This time, they faced a horde of OC. They had to use S-rank skills buffing Aria and Vulcan to take down the remaining monsters smoothly. The squad kept clearing maze after maze. During the fight, they found a cave with water. Stella didn't hesitate and stripped down to bathe. Feeling tired, Aria and Vulcan joined her. Tama got quite the show. He didn't want to peek, but staying alert is a knight's duty. Aria let Tama lie between her two mounds. Tama tried to close his eyes and stay calm, but the tension was too much, and finally, the guy couldn't resist the temptation and relaxed between those hills. Just then, Stella came over to scold Aria. She'd observed the fight and saw Aria was clearly much weaker. A weak girl isn't right for Tama. They argued back and forth, and Tama was suffocating trapped in this situation. Vulcan tried to mediate. Aria was the official wife, while Stella was the concubine, but Stella refused, sparking a new war. The two girls fought so fiercely they didn't notice Tama got blasted flying out. Dying from pleasure is real. After leaving the maze, Aria and Vulcan took Stella to register as adventurers. The boss introduced them to a man named It. He wanted to assign Aria an escort mission for a very important item. Since it would take a few days, they needed to go together. Vulcan couldn't join this time due to a big order at the shop. Episode 6. Liet invited them to go together to discuss details. He led them to see the item to be transported. Surprisingly, it was Ott's skeleton recently auctioned off. Episode 6. This is the skeleton of a powerful one. In the end, he never took his eyes off the enemy, sensing something. It was determined to get it at all costs. Stella stared unblinkingly at the skeleton. Tama was a bit worried and asked Han. But it seemed there was no need to worry. Stella looked at her own dry skeleton and recalled their previous battle. The excitement kept growing stronger. Tama is from SAO, so maybe calling Stella the Great Dragon is more fitting. Sister Anna handed Aria a metal box. She was promoted to B-rank adventurer. The next day, they set off immediately. On the way, they ran into many monsters. Luckily, with Aria and Stella, nothing too serious happened. At night, they set up tents and made a campfire to rest. Liet picked an Eliza flower for Aria. His fiancée really liked this flower. No wonder Tama didn't see any shady looks from him toward Aria. Turns out he already has a girlfriend. Liet sensed something, maybe a big battle is coming soon. Some merchants collected 10 rare materials to craft weapons. Tama suddenly recalled the demon's words. Before dying last time, all for his resurrection. Could those words really come true? That night, the forest terrain suddenly changed drastically, probably a huge maze about to appear. Their gear was unharmed, but they had to set out immediately. Aria was very excited. Maybe one day she'd return to explore the newly appeared maze where the chance to find legendary treasure chests and rare materials is very high. That's every adventurer's dream. Liet led them a bit away from the maze. Liet suggested they explore the maze. The first chance is always the most valuable. His trade guild was eager to buy their loot. Even with SAO status, they had to be careful because this maze was unexplored. No one knew what was inside. Tama used Lion King's protection on all three before entering. Stella was super excited to smash some monsters' heads. Now she'd fight anything that came. Seeing Stella was a bit unruly, Aria copied Vulcan's spell. If Stella behaved, she'd get a hug from Tama. The guy hyped up suddenly followed orders like a robot. Tama was speechless at the idea. Typical lady. Suddenly a light appeared and spoke to them, inviting them to hunt for treasure. Stella chased after it, but monsters appeared at the spot. Definitely a trap. These chimps were all C-rank monsters. Stella almost forgot to team up and nearly charged in alone. Luckily, Tama reminded her. Stella immediately banged her shield, taunting them. The monsters swarmed her, but the servants took advantage and threw two of them down into the underworld. Suddenly they heard voices coming from the bushes. After some threats, two girls came out. Turns out they were two pixies, Lily, the pink one, and Fairy, the green one. They were forest residents. Fairy was very interested in Tama. So cute and soft. Tama suddenly got spoiled by the two girls, making Stella very jealous. She also wanted hugs from them. Lily and Fairy wanted to be friends with Tama, so they led the group here. Fairy immediately showed them a nearby treasure chest. Inside was a rare medicine which Liette might know the value of. Fairy knew there were a few more chests, but they needed to get the key guarded by a swarm of bees, thanks to the perfect teamwork. Of the three, the bees were quickly defeated. Aria took the key. It was for the boss's room. The treasure chest must be behind one of the doors up above. If the chest is in the boss's room, it definitely holds something very valuable. Lily wanted to guide them. Although grateful, Aria wanted to return to the city to rest first. They had traveled far and were tired. Although grateful, Aria wanted to return to the city to rest. They'd traveled far and were exhausted. Plus, the enemy's identity was still unknown, so they needed to prepare carefully. Fairy and Lily wanted to come along. They had long wanted to see the human world. The two were always super excited. They ran around wildly. Aria grabbed them and gave strict instructions because elves are a rare race, so they could be kidnapped any time. Seeing this, Stella took on the responsibility to watch over and guide them. She must be thrilled to have followers now. While the three were chatting, Fairy ran off and found something incredibly tasty to eat. She had never tasted anything so sweet before. The shop owner thought they had no money and tried to kick them out, but luckily Aria arrived in time to pay. Fairy looked sad, thinking she had done something wrong. Aria sat down and fed her a slice of orange from the jar. Since they had paid, of course, she could keep eating. Aria took the jar of medicine they found to Mr. Liette. He was stunned that they found such a rare item. This is the water of truth. Anyone who drinks it cannot lie and will spew out all their hidden thoughts. Liette still couldn't appraise its value. He also thought that an item like this would be extremely hard to get even in a maze. Aria had no explanation either. Just then, Fairy and Lily pushed the door open and came in. Aria explained that these two had led her here. Liette was shocked this was the first time he'd seen elves. After saying that, Liette immediately used the excuse of being busy and left on the spot. That night, Aria took the two elves to enjoy the greatest pleasure in the human world, the Main's harem hot spring bath. Suddenly, two beautiful girls joined them. Aria, with her huge speaker, suddenly became the target of these lustful girls. It was truly a feast for the eyes. After finishing bathing, it was time for the moment when he stroked Stella's fur. She had fought all day, just waiting for this second. Tama was so heartbroken this old cat was about to die, and yet had to endure Stella's hands touching him. Vulcan was on her way home when she ran into an undead skeleton monster. She smashed it with her hammer, but it kept coming back to life. Suddenly, she heard someone ringing a bell. No idea what just happened. The next day, Aria used a key to open the boss's room. The three entered without knowing that danger awaited outside. They found Lily in danger. The boss there was incredibly strong. Stella charged forward to draw its attention. Aria then approached it from behind. Tama was amazed they could coordinate so well. He found the monster's weak spot, then burned it alive with fire, burned it alive with fire, burned it alive with fire, burned it alive with fire. Tama tied the monster up with his tail. Aria jumped up and slit its throat in one strike. After the monster died, treasure immediately appeared. Inside were two scrolls with ancient writings. The texts suddenly lit up and entered Aria's mind. The skill she learned was an ancient skill with holy attributes. Aria could create a sword made of light. When the three went outside, Lily and Fairy were nowhere to be found. Only a broken jar of candy lay in the middle of an empty field. Episode 7. Aria ordered Tama to search for Fairy and Lily's whereabouts. The three split up to look for them in the forest. Tama caught their scent but lost the trail. They searched until evening, but still couldn't find any sign of Lily and Fairy. Returning to the city, they met Vulcan and told her what happened. Right then, Count Gascon's attendant invited them to the old man's castle. For some reason, he kept staring at everyone's chests in the tavern. Stella looked masculine, but had a smoking hot body, her big bells swinging in front, making everyone notice. Aria refused the butler's invitation. The butler was shocked someone dared to refuse the Lord. Anyone who opposes him will be punished. Seeing this, Vulcan immediately stopped Aria and agreed with her. The three got ready and rode in the butler's carriage. At this point, Vulcan explained why. She agreed. There were rumors that many cute girls called to the Lord had gone missing. It was possible Lily and Fairy suffered the same fate. The Count's castle was very gloomy. This perverted Count actually called them here to pick mistresses. He arrogantly believed no girl could resist being favored by him. I'm speechless. This guy is as dangerous as the rumors say. The butler brought tea to each of them. Aria saw something was off. The Lord introduced this as a rare tea, reserved for a select few. Unfortunately, the three girls were thirsty cats. Vulcan boldly puffed up her chest and refused. Hell no, I'm not afraid of anyone. Aria didn't understand why she agreed to drink it. Just as she brought it to her lips, Tama immediately cast a protective spell. Seeing this, the lion Vulcan and Stella also understood and drank along. The Lord was waiting anxiously when suddenly, confusion mixed with surprise filled the air. He couldn't understand why all three stayed awake after drinking the tea. The butler decided to brew a much stronger potion for the three ladies. Before he could go make it, Stella lost patience, flew into a rage, grabbed his collar, and demanded to know Lily and Fairy's whereabouts. The Count panicked, clueless about what was happening. Aria stopped Stella from hurting him, so she let go. But he started yelling that they were demons and needed to use the family's secret ritual to purify their bodies and souls. Suddenly, they were surrounded by masked soldiers. At that moment, a soldier reported that the city was suddenly besieged by a night-hunting army. A massive horde was approaching. The Count didn't hesitate and fled with people, leaving Aria and the girls behind. Stella tried to evacuate everyone and fought the Andes army. Just a flick of Mayo Mayo's tail was enough to knock them down like dominoes. With Stella and Aria's power, killing them was ridiculously easy. A night creature tried to attack a little girl hiding behind a wine jar, but Vulcan smashed its bones with his hammer and carried her to safety. These night creatures were weak, but endless in number, impossible to finish off by fighting. Fighting like this was pointless. They had to find the summoner. Vulcan would lead the civilians to safety, while the other two would hunt down the summoner. Aria heard a bell ringing from the old man nearby. They approached the very calm old man who admitted to being the mastermind. He was seeking revenge for the murder of his fiancée, Elisa. That person was the Count. Without hesitation, he summoned hundreds of skeletons. The Count could only summon one or two at a time. But since he controlled Lily and Fairy, he had unlimited magic. The old man used an arrow-shaped device to drain mana from Lily and Fairy's bodies. The process looked painful just to watch. The elves' mana was truly top-tier, endless, no matter how much was used. The old man also thanked Aria's group for helping transport the dragon skeleton here. Now the old man controlled hundreds of skeletons and had a giant dragon skeleton fortress to fight off the goblins and dragon bones. Thanks to Aria's group, he had it all. After summoning the dragon, the old man immediately hid deep inside its skeleton. Tama tried to break the dragon bones, but because the mana was too strong, no matter how much they smashed it, it would instantly regenerate. Aria tried a new skill. Surprisingly, the holy damage worked, but that power was still too weak for Aria. Meanwhile, Tama was trying to analyze and learn it. Also, he still couldn't evolve into Behemoth's second form. The plan now was for Tama and Stella to stall while rescuing Lily and Fairy. Before the intense battle started, Vulcan was busy protecting the civilians non-stop. She drew a ring of fire around the dry skeletons outside. She was determined not to lose to the dry bones. Tama supported from outside with his power. She grabbed Lily and Fairy. Aria had finished restoring her mana, then threw her weapon aside. Using her pure dragon power, she leapt up and sliced off one of the dragon's arms. At the same time, Aria jumped up and used holy purification to completely cleanse the dragon. The old man couldn't believe his dragon died so fast. His revenge plan was finally ruined. Aria couldn't believe he was capable of such deeds. However, the old man was determined never to forgive that rotten Count. Suddenly, a skeleton approached and grabbed the old man's hand. The old man seemed to see his fiancée alive again. She gently scolded him. He always did things without thinking. The old man suddenly burst into tears. He hugged his wife one last time before she completely vanished. The night creatures disappeared along with her. Not long after a public execution trial was held, the Count was extremely smug. Today was the day he would show off his power. Aria brought him a cup of hot tea. Somehow she knew this would make the old lady furious and lustful, yet satisfied and happy. The tea brought by the beauty was, of course, drunk after their fill. The Count presided over the trial. At the execution, the old man was sentenced to the guillotine. The Count first praised Aria and her team because he saved him in the city, then criticized Liet's actions. Liet was humiliated in front of everyone. He confessed that all these actions were for revenge. He was certain the Count killed Eliza. The Count suddenly admitted he did kill Eliza, but admitting it would cause a huge scandal. Suddenly, the Count spat everything out to the steward. Everyone was stunned, caught off guard. Of course, Liet knew something was fishy. He then looked at Aria and saw she was holding the truth serum. The Count's strange behavior was because of Aria. Aria had slipped the truth serum into the tea he drank. She continued questioning him about the missing girls in Glaston. He immediately confessed to killing them with the steward after assaulting them. The Count's self-confession enraged the public. They immediately stormed to attack him. Thanks to Aria and 2 others, Liet escaped execution and got a retrial. He was very grateful to them. Finally, everything ended. The Count and his steward were exposed for many other crimes and had to spend the rest of their lives in prison. After many exhausting days, Tama's group finally got to relax and freshen up from the fans. So much happened, but Tama still succeeded in protecting his master. However, he wasn't about to get complacent. If his master continues down the martial path, Tama's mission isn't over yet. Episode 8. Don't understand why Lily and Fairy, who were rescued, still didn't return to the forest and stayed close to Tama. Petting them made Stella extremely uncomfortable. Wanting to repay the kindness and interested in humanity, they decided to follow them. This time, the group will return to where Aria and Tama first met. And Anne was very happy to see everyone again. She gave them a tight hug that almost took their breath away. News of their great feat in Glastonbury had spread all the way here. All the adventurers came out to congratulate them, exposing the Count's crimes and defeating the hidden Dragon Emperor. Every S rank was top tier worthy of being the new heroes. Anna gave Aria a silver adventure card. She was promoted to A rank while Stella got B rank. Aria blushed with joy. Stella only cared that this thing wasn't edible. Although Vulcan also contributed, he strangely didn't get promoted. Vulcan felt his name was being mentioned. He immediately broke into a cold sweat, not knowing how to explain. Luckily, Anna read his mind and made up a reason that Vulcan liked his current rank. So, he refused the promotion. Vulcan was saved and quickly nodded eagerly in agreement with this idea. To celebrate their return, the adventurers threw a huge party. One fairy tried the sweets and instantly got hooked, couldn't stop eating. The 2 from Glaston also sent them gifts to thank their father. It was enough preserved fruit for 15 people. Seeing these boxes, Lily Fairy and Stella's eyes lit up like stars. Looks like a feast is coming. Tama imagined these boxes piling up inside a room. What would it look like with Lily's group already cramped? No idea where to put all this. Aria wanted to send them to Vulcan's house, but his shop was already filled with weapon-making tools. Boss Anna suggested they find a base to live in. Tama agreed with the idea. If they reached A rank, surely there would be more commissions and clients, so it wasn't uncommon to buy a big house. Aria's reward this time was enough to buy a decent house. She took a long sip of beer and decided, though a bit nervous since it was her first big purchase, she wanted to find a spacious place where everyone could live happily together. The next day, the group went house hunting. They went to Gapopi Real Estate for info. The owner asked them to describe their needs. Lots of meat garden bedrooms. Bedrooms had to be big. Tama was speechless, sure they had houses like that, but would blow the budget. The owner introduced them to a villa not far away that met all their requirements. It even had an outdoor hot tub. Because it was so big, it had to be outside. That was the only one left because of that. Aria decided to seal the deal. The real estate owner smiled brightly lucky day, meeting a big spender. Aria whispered to Tama, now that we have a new home, study harder. Okay, Tama was happy, but then frowned. After moving, Tama cuddled Teo for a long time since Stella had done great during the move, so this was Aria's gift to Tama. Tama is getting his head patted. His belly rubbed, even shoved into a chest. He doesn't know whether to feel happy or upset. Never thought he'd do something this dumb for a dragon just to celebrate everyone moving. Vulcan brought them a pile of hoba shrimp, the famous local specialty. Tama is really looking forward to the meal cooked by his master. That night, they had a feast and good time together. Tama didn't expect that even after moving, those two girls would still pin him down while he's sleeping. No idea what he was dreaming about, muttering, "Lick me, Tama." Women are scary. Unable to sleep, he got up and sat down to analyze his skills. From the recent battle, he learned a new skill, elemental bullets. Also, Be Me Thought's form leveled up to rank BA. Thought level 2 was the highest, but there's another level after that. Wonder how far he can evolve. Tama was about to test transforming into the BA form, but there's no guarantee he could revert to his current shape. Needs some guarantee first. Lost in thought, suddenly Stella crawled out to carry him, startling him. She'd heard him and woke up. Stella guessed he was thinking about something, so she asked. If she didn't, she wouldn't be able to sleep either. Tama told her about his evolved form. Stella was shocked he could get even stronger than when he beat her. Just thinking about it made her want to get a big belly. She couldn't hold back drooling as she rushed to try and devour Tama alive. Tama can't lose his chance with girls now. The next day, Stella was still obsessed with the idea of a big belly. Lily asked Aria to add lots of flowers and plants to the garden. Of course, Aria didn't refuse. Their homeland was full of greenery. With Aria's approval, they started building a garden. Fairy hammered the ground to summon plants. Just as she called, one Vulcan ran over to stop them. The second plant she summoned was the World Tree, a rare sacred tree whose mysterious power supports the greenery of the Lord's estate around it and produces precious minerals. Vulcan told Fairy to grow normal trees and hide the World Tree. Luckily, she came early, or anything could have happened, since summoning the World Tree caused the life spring to overflow. This spring can cure all illnesses and heal any wound. Having this in the garden sounds kind of dangerous. But when Lily said it's also good for beauty, the women didn't mind so much. Tama's biggest worry was that the two spirits could summon the World Tree and the Life Spring. If others found out, they'd definitely kidnap everyone. They bottled the Life Spring water into glass jars to take with them. Stella didn't expect this to be a universal cure. Tama was amazed by Vulcan's abilities. After a while, Vulcan would help them mine minerals. However, she could only forge Azahalan. If the materials were higher grade, maybe not. Aria had heard that only a few called Artist Fake Meat could do that. They're talented blacksmiths invited by the nation to become Artist Fake Meat's a very honorable title. Tama suspected Vulcan was one of them, but there's no way to tell just from the title that she's uninterested in the nation. At that moment, Anna brought them a request. A monster that shouldn't be on the first dungeon floor was wreaking havoc, causing casualties. Aria obviously couldn't ignore this. Fairy and Lily wanted to join, but suddenly remembered their identities and had to stay home, disappointed. Tama immediately told them to come along. He's the team's bodyguard and can protect them without anyone worrying. Freddy and Lily got some gear to join, and both were super excited for this first expedition. Unexpectedly, hobgoblins appeared on floor 1, which isn't good. Fairy and Lily wanted to prove themselves and volunteered to fight. Stella wanted to wreck stuff, but this time, she'd just watch. As expected, Lily and Fairy were very strong. In no time, they killed the monsters. But this time, probably just watching. As expected, Lily and Fairy were incredibly strong, killing the monsters in a flash. They excelled at mid-range attacks, but Tama thought their perfect spot was attacking from the backline in battle. The group continued deeper into the maze. They heard the screams of a C-rank monster seemingly terrified of something. At that moment, an A-rank weasel monster was gnawing on the corpse of a monster it had just killed. It must have been the reason. Other monsters fled to the upper floors. Usually monsters stick to their own floors, so what's causing this anomaly? Aria wanted to go check it out. She wanted to see how much she had grown since the last battle. Fairy and Lily moved up to support the initial attack, using their strength to strike the troll. Unexpectedly, it had the ability to regenerate. Its wounds healed instantly. The troll went berserk when it saw its enemies. When it was careless, someone struck its leg hard. Aria darted past like a gust of wind, slashing the weasel several times. Lily used her small frame to attack the troll's eyes. Stella charged in with her sword, stabbing through it while it was still blind. Then it was Aria's turn. She used her sacred power to slice the weasel multiple times. Of course, after that move, the troll also went into a wild spin. Tama couldn't stop praising his master. After patrolling around, they returned to report to Anna. Everyone went to relax and take a bath after a tiring day. Tama felt completely refreshed. Just holding back Bema, who had shrunk to a tiny cat, was exhausting enough. Bathing with beauties like this couldn't get any better. Suddenly, Lily discovered a magical switch by the hot water spout. She pressed it once, and the bathtub suddenly bubbled furiously with foam. Lily suggested next time they could add some life spring water. Even if it's not meant for bathing, if we have it, why not use it? Seeing this scene around her, Aria felt deeply moved, as if she had gained a family. She vowed to protect this happiness forever. Meanwhile, in the Kali Empire capital, soldiers were panic running to report to the king as if responding to a demon tribe's call. Demonic beasts everywhere were acting strangely. If this continued, they couldn't hesitate any longer. The king listened silently. Her face was extremely serious. After rescuing Glassstone, Aria and her team were invited by the emperor to the palace for a reward. After 7 days crossing mountains and rivers, they finally arrived at the Kali capital. Actually, Kali is the correct name. This place is the political center of the country, so naturally it's busier than other cities. Aria's group was led by handsome, strong engineers into the throne room to meet the emperor. Only today did they learn that Vulcan was one of the heroes who had fought in the Gian Nadak battle, just like Jericho. Normally, Vulcan should have stayed to serve the country, but she hated being tied down, so she opened a small weapon shop in another city as her reward after the battle. Aria heard this and froze up. She never expected to team up with someone so formidable. Turns out she's got veteran experience with a mom-cooked meal kind of vibe. And here she was, thinking they were just peers, struggling together. Suddenly, the holy demon king Ra-Rebut appeared, shocking everyone. Tama even switched to battle mode, ready to protect his master. Vulcan spoke up to reassure them. Although Bizabut is a demon and looks tough, she actually sides with humanity. Bizabut can even read minds. Seems like she used that skill to mess with Aria. Aria got scared and was harshly scolded by Prince Garrett. Back to the main point today, Bizabut came to coordinate the strategy to counter the soon-to-be resurrected 4 demon tribes. They have one goal: to break the seal of the 7 great demon lords, once considered a disaster for humanity. Then they'll use that power to resurrect the demon god and help him become the world's ruler. Tama recalled the evil words the guy had said before he died. Turns out he wasn't just ranting, but hinting at the demon god's impending resurrection. This concerns the fate of all humanity, so of course our brave adventurers can't just blink and ignore it. Everyone united to stand with the emperor to stop the 4 demon tribes' plot. To prepare for battle, Prince Garrett ordered Vulcan to craft each of them a special weapon, tailored to them. The materials must be the most expensive, and money is no object. Here's the ideal boyfriend type for the 4 girls. Meanwhile, the others will have to endure tough training to learn new skills. Stella is a tank, so she will pair up with the prince, while Little, Fairy, and Lily will follow Rebut for intense training. As for Aria, the prince wants to find someone special for her. That person is Sword Saint Alicia, who was also Aria's childhood idol. Can't believe it's been over 15 years already. Yet she still clearly remembers the determined look in little Aria's eyes. Alicia was also happy to see her grown up like this. She looked at Tama, pondered for a moment, then turned to ask Garrett about the intense training. Alicia thought someone else might suit Aria better, but with her idol right in front, Aria would never let go. The solo duel between Alicia and Aria officially began. True to her title as a sword saint, Alicia just drew her wooden toy sword and unleashed a devastating force that seemed like it could blow everything away. Aria refused to back down, activated her speed skill, and charged straight at Alicia. Sword Saint, Sword Saint. Of course, she dodged the attack and declared that Aria passed the test. Turns out Alicia just wanted to challenge the girl's courage. Because facing an opponent 1,000 times stronger usually means either pissing your pants or running away, hardly anyone dares to attack like Aria. Time was getting tight. In the following days, everyone worked and trained hard to boost their strength. After training, they went to soak in the hot springs to recover. After some chatting, the group learned that both Alicia and Bizabut were wives of the great dark sorcerer. Though plural, it still couldn't compare to the endless harem that our guy has back home. Plus, all the girls are gorgeous and the utilities are all set up. Truly the author's own kid. Even the guys in the men's bath wanted to hit the ray. But with Prince Garrett around, He had to keep his cool. After washing up, the group was treated by Sword Saint Alicia to hamburgers taught to her by the great dark sorcerer. Turns out his homeland is the land of the rising sun. No wonder he's so knowledgeable about Japanese cuisine. That night, Tama couldn't sleep and went out for a walk, unexpectedly meeting Alicia. It turned out she already knew his true identity, but kept it a secret. Alicia didn't expose him, just told Tama to protect everyone in dangerous situations. The next morning during training, Prince Garrett suddenly revealed to Stella that she didn't need a reason to be strong like Aria because she was born powerful. Meanwhile, Aria was trying hard to obtain the derivative skill as Alicia advised, but even when they got news about where the 4 demon clans would be resurrected, Aria still hadn't acquired it. According to the intel, the 4 demon clans would resurrect in different locations, meaning the adventurers would have to split up to act. Episode 10, Alicia will defend the kingdom because it's her homeland. Aria's group will head to Mekong City with Dwayne. Accompanying them is a group of knights, but no Rick since he's out hunting the demon clan. As soon as they entered the labyrinth, a horde of monsters was waiting for them. Aria's group just finished intense training, so they confidently charged into battle, equipped with weapons forged by Vulcan. Aria's agility increased significantly, no need for blink skills, but still smoothly weaving through attacks. Over here, the unlucky Demon King was forced to endure Stella's combo of the Great Shield and Great Sword. The Great Shield absorbs the opponent's attack force, then the Great Sword immediately strikes back. Even Fairy and Lily improved a lot. The 2 girls could now control their mana, consuming less but with high efficiency. One strikes the other, finishes it off. At this rate, Mornleo Tama is doomed. The deeper they go, the more and stronger the monsters become. This time they faced mutated Class A buried monsters. Currently, Garrett's body was extremely exhausted, so the knights volunteered to stay and fight the buried monsters to clear the way for the prince and the group. Aria went deeper inside, but shortly after, Stella suddenly told the group to stop because she sensed a huge aura ahead. Everyone got ready for battle. Tama immediately activated the Lion King's protective barrier around them all. Visago was already sitting there waiting for them. He introduced himself as one of the 4 demon clans, and also a servant of Mammon. Prince Garrett declared he would exterminate him. Without further ado, Visago immediately summoned his 2 disciples, Cyclops and Orthros. They were so strong that they still can't confirm the rank of the 4th Demon King. He ordered them to loot the treasure from the Garrett Guild into the warrior group, while he took the chance to escape through the teleport gate to the demon realm. How could it be that easy? Garrett immediately launched an attack but was easily blocked by him. He was determined to fight to the death with him. The rest handed the Orthros monster to Aria. Aria planned to shred her and Tama into pieces with her hell claws, but luckily she dodged with a blink and counterattacked with her holy sword. Tama also contributed with a water howl, successfully tearing a tuft of fur from Orthros' cheek. It was pissed but couldn't do anything. Over here, Stella volunteered to take the damage for the team. She even shifted into her dragon form to hold tight. Vulcan seized the opportunity and slammed the Cyclops' horns, making it dizzy and collapse. They could deal multi-target damage here. The monster's body caught fire, driving it mad. Meanwhile, the prince faced a tough opponent and was starting to run out of breath. Visago wondered if the other heroes, after this epic battle, were also worn out like this. He kept taunting, making the prince even angrier. He swore to never let a demon like him get what he wants. The battle reached its climax as everyone kept unleashing insane skills, but somehow these monsters still wouldn't stop. They only took minor damage instead of critical hits, and could even use blood demon techniques. The Cyclops created weapons by solidifying its own blood to attack. On top of that, it summoned lightning, causing trouble for Vulcan's group. Tama felt the situation was getting worse. If this continued, their side would definitely suffer heavy losses. The most important thing was Prince Garrett had completely exhausted his power and collapsed. So there was no need for him to intervene, as 2 disciples here were enough to wipe out everyone present. Then, with more important tasks, Visago left, leaving Orthros and Cyclops to handle the rest. He also blessed the 2 disciples with the Demon King's blessing, making them stronger than ever. Tama just watched the enemies advance to the demon realm helplessly. Their stamina seemed endless, plus the buffs. This was getting really dangerous. Their support, the prince, was now unconscious. The whole team was visibly weakening. The 2-headed dog, continued attacking by launching a barrage of giant swords, injuring everyone immediately. At this point, Tama had to make a final decision: evolve into Behemoth's third form. Golden light shone everywhere. Everyone watching was stunned. Cut to the kingdom, Alicia wiped out the monsters in the cave. They moved on and broke into the next room. Who the hell would have thought to find that guy Beryl? Her old rival soaking in a hot spring inside last time Alicia had beaten her badly. So this time she was determined to get revenge. The giant dragon and she had been power boosted. Thanks to the Demon King Mammon's blessing. Before she could finish her sentence, her head dropped. Drop down, drop down, drop down, logged out in a ridiculous way again. Alicia realized that with this situation, Jessica's knights wouldn't face much trouble, only Aria's group was a bit worrying. But with Tama there, she felt somewhat reassured. Tama had transformed into his third form, causing everyone to be stunned, shocked, and thrown off. He was even afraid his behemoth identity might be exposed. But unexpectedly, they just thought he was a holy beast. Visago's two disciples quickly sensed the power gap between them and Tama. So they decided to self-destruct. The monster made a bomb from its own blood, aiming to burn everyone in the maze. Seeing Tama in danger, Stella stepped up to protect him, despite Vulcan's warning that she would take heavy damage. Just like Prince Garrett said, Stella was born a warrior who could protect those in danger before thinking twice. So, the mission to protect from took heavy damage. Just as Prince Garrett said, Stella was born strong, enough to help those in trouble before thinking twice. So the mission to protect from the monster that could take her life fell to her. When Stella decided to sacrifice herself, Tama rushed to stop her, but was too late. In her final moments, Stella recalled the happy, joyful times with Tama and Aria's group. She felt her life was more than enough and had no regrets left. At this moment, Aria recalls the question Alicia once asked her at SAO. She fights again, and now Aria has found the answer. She fights for her teammates. Aria unleashes the immense power of the Holy Sword, incinerating two monsters. After using Behemoth's power for a long time, Tama's mana became unstable, causing him to revert to his original form and pass out. Still perched on Aria's twin melons, the battle ends and the group turns back to the castle to report to the Emperor. They predict the demon clan will next target the Sage Stone in Lumulus Village, so now they must gather a large force to fight back. Episode 11, Aria recalls when she was a child. Her village was brutally raided by demons hunting the Sage Stone. In that moment between life and death, the elemental cat and Holy Sword Alicia arrived just in time to save Aria's life. Now the village has once again become a battlefield, and she can't help but worry. Seeing this, Tama and the others keep encouraging Aria to lift her spirits. This battle also has sister-in-arms Anna joining them. Her comeback is just a bonus. The real deal is reuniting with Red. After a long journey, the army finally arrives at the Io clan village. Their village is protected by a massive ancient tree. The village chief personally welcomes the troops. Elvin asks about Aria's health and praises her achievements. He's also happy to meet the village's old benefactor, Alicia. Everyone immediately bows to show their respect to her. Since that disaster, Lumulux village has strengthened its defenses to protect the Sage Stone. The army enters the village amid the warm and joyful welcome of the people. While no one is paying attention, two kids, Fairy and Lily, sneak off into the forest to play without anyone noticing. Fairy spots an intruder and jumps out with Leona to check. Turns out they're all familiar. The little elemental cat is actually the savior who saved Aria's life. Later, the group gathers in a clearing to discuss the defense plan for this battle. Since Aria recently took down the Demon Clan's 4, she's earned a spot on the advisory board. Right now, there are 3 main points they need to clarify: evacuation plans, village strategy, and the current state of the Sage Stone's defenses. Regarding evacuation, the villagers have been trained regularly. Supplies are well stocked in case of siege. The village's fighting force is strong enough to defeat the demons. Plus, they have reinforcements from another village called the Amazon Unit, led by Aria's mother. Aria is surprised. She never expected her mom, who never touched a sword before, to now be the captain of a combat unit. Since Aria left home, her mom awakened a combat skill. That skill is called Wide Area Strike. After the planning session, the village chief leads everyone to the Sage Stone's guard post. Surprisingly, it's right at the base of the ancient tree, a place familiar to the villagers. But only a few know the exact spot to activate the mechanism. It's true, the most dangerous place is also the safest. Inside the ancient tree is an enormous cavern. Currently, the Sage Stone is protected by a very strong barrier. Anyone daring to approach it will be sent straight to the underworld. After that, Aria examines the Sage Stone and then leads her friends home to introduce them to her mother. Looking at her mother's beauty and twin melons, the whole gang realizes Aria definitely inherited those from her. Like mother, like daughter. After playing and dancing all day, everyone is starving. Each one volunteers to help Aria's mom cook. Suddenly, Aria says she needs to talk privately with her mom, so the two head to the sauna. Aria is worried her mom will be in danger if she goes to the battlefield. She knows that thinking like this in their situation is selfish. But if something bad really happens, she'll regret it forever. Mama understands Aria's feelings very well. When she left the village, she had the same worries, but all of Aria's efforts are to protect this village, so she fully supports her. Now Mama hopes Aria will support her decision too. The two of them will join forces to protect their homeland. That night, Aria moans in her sleep for reasons unknown, keeping Tama wide awake. At the same time, Holy Sword Alicia discovers this girl is a mole planted by the demon clan. She's found the location where the Sage Stone is hidden. Just as he was about to use magic to break the cave door and enter, Alicia landed a critical hit that knocked him down instantly. However, the owl that witnessed everything quickly reported to Visago. Knowing the location of the Sage Stone, he immediately launched an attack. Hundreds of spatial rift doors opened throughout Lumalost Village, unleashing hordes of monsters. The alarm bells rang loudly, everyone got ready to fight, and Visago appeared. The mage squad kept firing fiery missiles at the village. Alicia activated a wide protective barrier, causing all enemy attacks to vanish. At that moment, Prince Garrett called everyone to unite and fight, to stop the demon invasion and protect the Sage Stone outside the barrier. The mindless monsters kept charging, but as soon as they touched the barrier, they instantly disintegrated without a trace. However, higher-level monsters slipped through the barrier's gaps and entered the village. Episode 12. Aria's group split up, each blocking the monsters' advance. Stella both defended and attacked, scaring the monsters out of their minds. Fairy teamed up with Lily to cast a magical rain, successfully wiping out dozens of enemies. Meanwhile, Aria and Tama unleashed flashy moves. No prey could escape this battle net. This brought back memories of the Great War to the city knights, making them even more fired up. The Ice Queen's sister, though retired for a long time, still maintained her old form in this comeback, truly worthy of the Ice Queen title. Jericho's sweet, obedient girl saw the situation getting tense. Then Visago decided to use his trump card, the S-rank summoned beast Nighthawk. Earlier, the Lumalost village barrier was attacked from 4 directions, draining much of Alicia's power, so now the Nighthawk could easily create a big gap in the barrier to invade the village. Garrett commanded the sniper team to attack the beast, but it was unfazed. It even counterattacked. Seeing things turn against them, Garrett ordered a retreat to preserve their forces. Tama transformed into Behemoth's 3rd evolution form, carrying Aria as they charged straight at the Nighthawk. The two clashed fiercely. Unexpectedly, Visago played a dirty trick, using a teleportation gate to ambush Tama and Aria from behind, then took the chance to enter the cave where the Sage Stone was kept. Just as Tama and Aria caught up, the Nighthawk swallowed the stone, causing a massive shockwave that withered the ancient tree. The village's balance was collapsing. After successfully grabbing the Sage Stone, Visago immediately returned to the demon realm through a teleportation gate. But there's no way the director lets his favorite lose. After successfully sending Visago back home, the battle was completely over. The Sage Stone was returned to its place, and the village restored its peaceful state. That night, everyone threw a celebration party. The two biggest heroes were Aria and Tama. So Alicia gave them new titles. Aria became the Holy Blade and Tama the Holy Beast. Being named by the sacred sword like this moved Aria deeply. Her efforts over the past time were finally rewarded. She promised everyone she'd keep pushing to live up to her title. From then on, Aria and Tama became 2 famous idols, always sought after in the Maze City. However, Tama's life as the Holy Beast was a bit rough. Having the Holy Sword itself name her like this moves Aria deeply. All her efforts throughout that time have finally been rewarded justly. Aria promises everyone she'll keep pushing herself to live up to her title. From then on, Aria and Tama became 2 wildly popular idols, always sought after in the Maze City. However, Tama's life as a holy beast is anything but easy. Sure, being surrounded by watermelon sounds fun, but when every night there's a bunch of girls wanting to be pampered, where's he going to find the ammo to shoot?